We will call this meeting to order, regular city council meeting. City of Dalhart, Monday, August 14th, 2023. First item on the agenda is the prayer. Frankie, would you lead us in prayer, please, sir?
Let's pray. Father God, as we come before you this evening, Lord, first, we thank you and we praise you for the blessings that you've bestowed upon all of us. We pause and we think about things, Lord, that you do for us. We are so undeserving. And most of all, it's all about you and nothing about us. But as we gather today, Lord, to carry on the business of the city, Lord, that we do so mindful of your direction, the wisdom that you give us, the knowledge that you give us, and that we do so in a manner that is pleasing unto you. That we carry on business to the satisfaction of those that elected us to office and not for our own self-use. And we praise you again and thank you for the sacrifice that you give and that you gave to cover our sins by the shedding of your blood upon that cross. For your precious holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please stand with me as we recite the pledge to the United States and Texas flags. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
honor
On
the
the
Texas
Texas
flag.
flag, I pledge allegiance to the flag, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
First item on the agenda is a consent agenda consisting of minutes from the July 24th, 2023 regular city council meeting. Minutes of July 24th, 2023 budget work session. Approval of July financial reports, July bills, and committees and boards appointments.
Making a motion,
We don't have committees and board appointments.
Get a motion to approve all the above except the committees and board appointments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number one, public comments. Item number two, presentation of years of service awards to Amanda Miller, Ignacio Romero, Jonathan Alvera, and Gilbert Ramirez.
And Amanda Miller is the first one with, this is her first year, celebrating her first year.
Okay. And this award is in recognition of your outstanding service and commitment to the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you.
And then Ignacio Romero for 4 years.
Okay. Ignacio. So this certificate is appreciation of your 4 years commitment to the city. We appreciate your service very much. Thank you.
I've got Mike Alvera for 5. Yeah.
Got
In recognition of your 5 years of service to the city. Appreciate your commitment to our city. Thank you very much. 5-year plan. Thank you.
And then Gilbert couldn't be here, but he has 24 years.
Awesome.
So.
Good job, Gilbert. Thank you all very much. Thanks. Item number 3, discuss and or act upon the request from Dalhart and Hartley County 4-H. Oversee and utilize the archery range.
Yes, I was contacted by Ty Day and they were no longer going to be using the bow hunters range and they were wanting to know if we would like to be able to use that with our archers. And after discussing it with our families and stuff, they would like to use it because of the 3D that we could do down there and also the field archery contest and, learning. It's learning. And so wanting to see if we could come and have the range and see what it would cost us to be able to take it over. He did tell me that we would have to have additional insurance that was basically $1 million to be able to, take it over. But some of the other things that we need to discuss is, the keeping it mowed and, where it is safe for the 4-Hers and their families to be down there and to be keeping the people who are hiking and walking or riding their bicycles. So, having that to where we're not, coming into, we don't shoot anybody or hurt anybody, or if we're shooting at something, the other people, they're not riding a bicycle and go, oops, we run into the, where that is. So it's a learning process that we would be doing and everything. And hopefully we'll be able to get some of the other, like Ty and was it Caleb Eacher would sit there and be able to help us do some of that because, she encouraged them to kind of turn it over to us or let us be able to come and ask for it. And they said they would leave the 3D targets that they have down there already, that's already set out. And we've been talking about maybe being able to find sponsors and stuff that would help us buy their new targets and stuff that they have in the storage and everything. The families are excited, the kids are excited. And we do have a good archery families. We've had kids that are national ambassadors, state ambassadors for 3 or 4 years. We've had kids to, go into the state games for like the past 7 years. So they know about the 3D contest. They know about the field contest. They know about the 600 modified. So we're wanting to do something besides just inside archery, like what we've been doing. And we really, really appreciate y'all letting us use, the Coliseum when we're using the bull barn and where we can shoot there. And because our kids have been doing fantastic. If you know Blair Dahl from Hartley County, he placed second in nationals in hunting and wildlife. And as individual. And then his team, Texas team, placed second in all of the teams. Then the entire Texas shooting sports team placed second in the nation. So I think we're doing pretty good, especially since we just started this, the archery up here 7 years ago. And our kids have been able to do this. And we have younger ones that are coming up and wanting to get involved. And our ambassadors taught Community Connect taught beginning archery this summer, for about 3 days. So they're go-getters. The families are go-getters. So we were just wanting to know, if we could have that and oversee it and learn more about it as we go along.
I think we need to come up with some kind of agreement as far as, like you said, who's going to maintain the property and
Yes,
make sure you have the proper insurance.
yes.
Or if that's something that maybe Greg needs to top up a contract and see if
They're probably,
guys
yeah.
willing to abide by it, and then we can kind of move forward from there.
I think that is very much true. And so, and what we need to do and the signs we need to put up to keep people from, overgoing the hikers into the range and stuff and, and kind of set up days that the kids and their families could be shooting so that we can post, signs and stuff up and keeping it updated and the mode and stuff, I think you're 100% on that. And as I said, if it wasn't for y'all helping us and let us using the Coliseum, I mean, we wouldn't have the kids in here doing as much as what they are now.
That's a great program. Any other discussion, concerns about the 4-H taking over the archery range?
I had a question and it's just a thought. I didn't know. I mean, I think it's a fantastic idea for you guys to do that.
Uh-huh.
My thoughts was there any discussion about if you guys maintain it and run it, would you be willing to let other public individuals
To,
utilize the
that it was something that would have to be discussed with y'all as to be what would be. But I know a lot of stuff like with 4-H for our people, our insurance only pays for them. But we would like to be able to host contests and stuff that would allow adults and youth to come in from other or places. And, kind of like what they used to do when the bow hunters had it going on. And I know they used to, Claudia Taylor showed me a compound bow that she won when she was probably 9 or 10. And, her little brother wanted to use it and she said, no, this is mine. So kind of wanting to bring it.
so it's not off the table or anything.
It's not off the table.
Figure out everything.
It's trying to figure out everything. And, we have coaches, adult coaches, and we have teen coaches that have gone and gotten their certification. But, we may have to talk about having where they can come and sign up, kind of like what we do for the Coliseum. If somebody other than what we are wants to utilize it, they might have to come and sign up here so that people know who's down there and what's going on. Kind of like we do our vehicle, if it has a wreck, we want to know who was driving it.
I think it's fantastic.
Are there any other questions?
I don't think so. We'll try to get some guidelines together and we'll get back to you on it.
Okay, real good. And thank you very much for letting me come and speak.
Thank you. So because it says discuss and act upon, do we need to table it or do we need to do anything?
No action.
No action taken?
You could call for a vote to move forward, but that would just be.
Okay. Item number 4, discuss and or act upon the request from Dalhart Area Chamber of Commerce to close the streets for their farm to table event.
I thought a representative would be here. Oh, okay, good deal. Come on.
We're just asking that we close between 3rd and 4th Street for the annual farm to table event on August 26th from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Just gonna use the one block this year instead of 2.
Okay. I think Tommy has the forms for that. Does Tommy?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
and they've filled it out. We have the block party form.
Perfect. Thank you. Entertain a motion to close the street for farm to table. So moved. Second,
I'll second his so moved.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Dina. Item number 5, discuss and or act upon the placement of signage at the roundabout at 13th and Prairie Drive.
This has some showing.
Brought these in here. On the back, no peeking until it's time to look at them. First of all, I thank you for allowing me to make this presentation. It is on the roundabout at the end of Prairie Drive in 13th. On your paper, I made a mistake on my east and west, but I will straighten that out here. There is a roundabout, and I believe it's been there probably ever since a little bit after Moses and the Hemorites. So it's been there a long time. I believe, I spoke with Gilbert, I believe it's city owned, but nobody uses it the way that it was intended to be used. if you look at your paper, your pictures, the westbound traffic lane is cut off because of eastbound traffic. So you coming from the east, and you're going west. When you get to Perry Drive, those that are traveling east, they're driving on the westbound lane, and somebody's got to stop. And we've had many near misses there. Those that live in that area, they know about the roundabout. People that's out joyriding, they don't know about the roundabout. And as I said, there's been a lot of near miss accidents. Right there, you see where the arrow is pointing, westbound traffic? I measured that distance right there. There's only 10 feet there. 2 cars cannot pass because those that are going west, they need to go around the roundabout. Okay. It's not if, but when there's an accident, because there's most definitely going to be an accident sooner or later. Who will be liable for the compensation? There will be possibly a lawsuit, maybe even death. And this kind of lawsuit will run into hundreds of thousands to maybe even the millions. The city has one time before paid out a few million back in the 80s when a young man jumped off the diving board and he hit his head on the wall. Since then, that have been corrected. The question is, do we want to go through that again? The city has sign making machine, computer, blanks. We build our own signs. If passed, we will give plenty of notification that this is about to happen by way of the city's webpage and possibly the radio. Okay, the signs will be placed out at the discretion of the chief of police, Tommy Hughes, in what order to put them out to give people prior notice. And it's going to take a while, and it's probably going to take some monitoring, not all day long, but just when the police just happen to be in that area, because that is a heavily traveled road right there. And some of you in here have had near misses, almost getting hit. So this is something that needs to be addressed. Let me show you the signs. Now y'all can look. I've had Amanda Miller in the sign room. She made these signs, and this is one of the signs that will be put up for the roundabout, letting people know which direction you have to travel. Got a little dirty in the back of the pickup. This is also letting people know, circle to the right. This third one is, they can't read that circle to the right. This is telling you which way to go also. And like I said, if passed, I will get with Tommy Hughes to see what order put these signs in to where we won't confuse people, but direct them where we want them to go. Any questions?
Why not just make it the oval in the middle or the circle in the middle, just make it a semicircle and just cut it out and lay road going through there on the north side of it. Just make it a 2-lane deal through there. And just kind of take the roundabout out as a whole.
That could be done, but if you look at that area, in which that would solve the problem, but you got an expense there. I don't know what the bill would be on that expense.
I think 90% of the people ain't gonna pay attention to them signs. They're gonna straight across there anyway, because that's the shortest distance.
And that's why I recommended, that I know Tommy Hughes, he will monitor that area, until we get folks trained to go the way we want them to go. And then there's maintenance. It has a water meter, so I know they water it and the parts of the cemetery, they mow it. So there's a lot of thought there.
So an option could be, if you wanted to do the signage first, and then staff could look into what it would take for a longer term solution to shortening that area in the middle.
I think expense wise, the signage obviously is going to be the cheaper route.
On the city block, you're looking at about $75,000 to just put a road in. That count concrete removal and either relocation. It's in the middle of that.
You would have to take out what, 6 feet of the roundabout? Maybe 8, another 8 feet?
20.
Think so?
Your standard,
You had 10 feet, right?
yeah, 10 feet at that one area right there. Now, our standard roads are 30 feet in width.
I don't know, it's just like whenever you go to Synergy, you know, those 2 roundabouts over there, nobody goes the right way on those roundabouts. It's just like nobody knows how to drive.
So what are the residents gonna think? That end of Circle Drive, all this traffic now coming by their driveways and stuff, if we do that too.
If you do the
Actual
option,
roundabout, I think.
Doing the roundabout, making the signs, making,
Do the roundabout.
if you actually do it the way you're supposed to do it.
right.
I mean, you're going to be safer educating people the right way to use the roundabout. Roundabouts they're unique to this area. There's a lot of education. I think roundabouts in general are unique, so it does take a little bit of time helping people understand which way to go, because it's not intuitive which way to go. People don't pay attention to it. But like I said, if you wanted to try this, it's a cheaper option, and then staff could look into what it would cost longer term.
My only comment is they need to be state certified signs to be an enforceable offense. Just putting a sign out like that, it's not a chargeable offense. So if you have the direction to go that you want to enforce it legally, that'd be a state certified sign.
Even if it's not a state highway.
It's that's just the thing, because you have there is this particular group out in the Southwest that it's caused an implied official sign. And the legal part of it is that it's not under their dictate, it's not an official sign.
Well, I entertain a motion to approve it if we can get those official state approved signs.
And then we have to look at the
How many signs are we looking at now?
We got what we need. We can make some additional signs to put on the westbound side, stating that violators will be prosecuted. I don't know, I guess the attorney can check into the legalization of our signs. But if I'm thinking, so are all of our signs illegal, stop signs and yield signs all over town? We build them too.
They're state signs. We're just gonna double check on the graphic that you have on it. And that's really, we're just gonna double check on that.
Okay.
So we'll double check on the graphic on that. We'll double check and make sure that they're state certified. But
I mean,
And another,
signs make sense.
another issue in relationship to it, which is another area we have in Dalhart that has sign placements that are not appropriately placed in a distance that is required. And so the example would be at the Legacy with the speeds, they're too far out. You passed an intersection, all that's just, we have requirements in the city itself on the distance they have to be placed and all of that. That's just.
The other thing there, sitting thinking about it, if you're gonna do that, the arrows on the pavement, as you put arrows, like on these, when you're traveling east, you put arrows
Going around.
only going around it in the same way coming the other way. Because you've got your signs and you've got those arrows, and people pay more attention, a lot of aspects of those arrows than they do signs.
I'm glad you said that.
They may not look the sign, but they'll see that arrow.
I'm glad you say that because that was one of the things too that I was looking at, putting either arrows or white stripe lines. But the traffic going east, for that lane, I was considering putting double yellow lines because everybody know not to cross double yellow lines. But not supposed to.
Supposed to know how to do it.
But anyway, I mean, the arrows would enhance it anyway, for striping it, whatever. But I think the arrows would be the best. You show.
We got some arrows. We got some stencils.
So moved on mayor's request.
Okay.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Curtis.
Thank you all very much.
Item number 6, discuss and or act upon resuming the consideration of tabled item to discuss Surfline Leak Protection Program on July 10th, 2023, regular meeting agenda.
Point of order.
Yes,
We
sir.
do not have an agenda item to remove it from table.
So we need to
You have to vote to remove it from table.
entertain a motion to move it to table. Second. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So tell me, this is we're talking about 2 different ones, correct?
They're 2 different ones. We broke them out. So Corbin's gonna help walk us through.
So the first one is the one that is completely voluntary. That's the one you sign up for. And so I did do kind of my own research, polled quite a few staff and quite a few citizens that I talked to not at 8 o'clock in the morning. A lot of groups want this deal. I think it's for the cost, it's relatively good, safe deal to pay for versus what benefits are.
And you had some questions about the marketing materials, correct? For this one, because they'll send out the marketing materials.
We're on the water line.
We're on the one that's by choice.
But
Yeah.
One by choice.
the first one is the leak protection.
Yeah.
That's one that we're going into. Mandatory sign up that they have to drop out of.
So I've got my papers.
Number 7 is the one we have questions about.
That's the one we have questions.
Okay, so my paper was backwards. So this one is the one that has the voluntary opt out after up to 12 months. If you don't have a coverage, you can opt out up to 12 months, but it's an automatic instatement. You have 12 months to opt out.
I'm personally not for that, but you guys can discuss it. And
I know I've talked to a lot of people in town and they know, absolutely no.
Make a motion, and you not approve consideration of the line leak protection.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 7, discuss and or act upon Surfline Leak Protection Program. Is that what we just did?
You gotta.
Okay, we got, all right, here we go. Okay, number 6 is where we remove from table. Okay, number 7 is the vote for the service leak protection, which we just voted on. So we just voted on number 7.
Okay,
Now we're back to number 8, which is the remove from table on the serve line utility protection.
okay.
And that's the voluntary one.
So do we need a motion to remove it from table?
Yes, we do.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Now we open up number 9.
Number 9, discuss and or act upon Surfline Utilities Protection Program. So this is the one, Corbin, that is optional to sign up for. It's not an automatic sign up, and the people that you polled, majority of them are.
They wanted both of them, but they will either one, so.
And this is the one, the marketing materials, do you want to clarify, does it have to have the city's logo?
It does not. So part of the marketing material, the only reason they kind of want the city logo is if anything else, you get your mail in the morning. You throw away the stuff that doesn't look important and you keep the stuff that does. And usually if it has a city seal on it, it looks important. That's all they were going for on that, but they do not have to use our city seal.
The only reason that is the impact is so that we are endorsing the activity, and then I would consider that we also should endorse a private entity.
Okay, so that automatically you get it. And then
You have to call them.
12 months, you.
No.
We voted that one down.
We voted that one.
The opportunity in the mail, so they mail you and say, hey, you're eligible for this insurance, and then you sign up for it.
This
You
is,
guys voted no on the one that would be automatic.
this is not
So this is
mandatory.
the voluntary, and it's a mail out that the company has the expense on. So the city is not.
Right, so that's my thing, is if the city's not involved, why do we need to be even talking about this?
Because they're giving it to they're using it with our citizens, and there is also a city involvement. If there is a leak, they pay the city back for leaked water. There is some city involvement on the back end of things.
But I mean, wouldn't that be with any leak insurance? There's gonna be city involvement?
Depends on the
Like if
program. I mean,
you find a home insurance and they have leak protection, you're gonna be doing the same thing, because isn't that what this is? Is home leak insurance?
Is this still added, like, we have an option to add it to our,
You have an op, not to be.
No, not this
no,
one.
we're
That was
just
the other
doing it. Well, I just wasn't sure if that was an option, if they still chose the site, if they.
Mr. Mayor, if I may address Corbin, please.
Yeah,
Isn't this, I understand we're talking about leaks. This is not necessarily a leak. This is any service line problems that you have. It's not just leaks. So if you get plugged, correct me if I'm wrong.
go in your backyard and hit your sprinkler line and destroy it, they pay for it.
It's you plug up and you have to, or you have a flat sewer line or whatever. It's more than just leakage and that sort of thing. That's the other one. And we don't need to discuss that, but that's, if I'm correct, is
Yes, sir. Yeah,
if you need repairs done to your service lines.
go through that.
Under this.
So I lived in a different city in a past life, and the gas company offered this. So it's just a matter of what entity offers, but it has to be connected to something. So they're connecting it because we offer a utility. So where I lived, the gas company offered it because that was the utility. So it just, that's how they hook it up. That's why they came to us to offer it.
And if I may, they do require, they contact the service individuals. They've got to be permitted or licensed, the whole nine. They're responsible for the Joe Blow can't go out and do it. So it just.
Right, they use certified local contractors, yeah. Yeah, they'll ask for a local contractor list. And we'll give them one that's certified, they'll call those guys first before they call Mr. Amarillo out.
I think if it's a service that we can offer our citizens and our staff that's not forced upon them or not mandatory for them to sign up for, and they can benefit from it, then I'm all for it.
I think as long as it doesn't have any city logos, anything to do with the city as far as that, then, I mean, it's just like any other company putting out a mailer.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve it minus the city logo or city letterhead. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Corbin. Item number 10, discuss and or act on SVA Towers 9 LLC agreement, easement agreement. This was a cell phone tower that we had talked about previous meeting, isn't it? They were gonna pay us $120,000, I think, to take over that easement.
Basically, if you step out the front door here, you'll see it's over to the northeast of building here. But that may help you. I have spoken with Ken about the issues that we thought were at least issues with the company. And I'd also like to talk with Mike and then come back with a little bit longer statement as to what the good part of it is, the poor part that it is. And we have used $120,000 and really don't have a reason to say, okay, is that the amount we should ask for? Is that not the amount? So, and maybe provide the council a better picture of what we're looking at.
Yeah, we had asked you to follow up on that, and thank you for that.
And I'll get you a copy of Ken's report. It has the good and the bad.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, do we want to move forward on that, or would you entertain a motion not to move forward on the easement agreement?
I'd entertain a motion to not move forward. I would save Greg some more time and
We wanted to deny it. I just want to be done with it.
well, let's do this. Let's do,
Didn't we have a certain amount of days? Weren't we required to answer in a certain amount of days, Greg? On that? So it's on a time crunch. I remember that.
so we can put it up for a motion. If it passes, great. If it don't pass, we'll discuss it next
Well, I
time.
would entertain a motion. We do not proceed on the LLC, the SBA towers
Second.
agreement.
I would second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 11, Greg, thank you for that. Time you put into that, appreciate it. Update on the amphitheater?
If I may,
Yes.
we're going to proceed on it because we did not get a positive, national vote to stop it. So we're going to go ahead and proceed on it. Am I not correct?
You want to
I
take?
didn't hear any.
The vote was, I did not hear anybody vote. I just heard two. That's all I heard.
I didn't hear any nays.
I didn't hear any nays, so that
So
means
let's do
it failed.
Here's my thing is Greg, when do we have to answer?
I don't know that there's a specific date we have to answer by, but I think we need to keep moving.
The vote by show of hands. Same motion, same second. Vote by show of hands. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Mayor, you're the deciding vote.
I'm gonna recommend that we do not continue to move forward with it and just strike it aside. Item number 11, update on the amphitheater. Wes, I got an email from Wes earlier. He couldn't be here tonight. But he did email update on it. Stacy had it as well. On February 2023, Down County Commissioners called for bids and construction committee was named, Wes Ritchie, Ronnie Gordon, James Stroud as a construction manager, and Michael Athan. April of 2023, Allen County Commissioners accepted a bid from G&G Operators for $286,000. May of 2023, XIT Communications, Rita Blanc Electric, Quality Dairy Construction, and Western Equipment sign on as monetary donors to make up the balance of the project. On July of 2023, construction began and the estimated completion date is October of 2023. That's all I've got on that. Item number 12, discuss and approve proposed 2023 tax rate. I'd like to entertain a motion to go as option 2 at 0.424750.
So moved.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No.
No.
Let's do that again by show of hands. All in favor? All opposed? Was that 4-3? What was it?
Two. And Bruno, which?
Put 3-5.
3 to 5. Do it again, 5-4.
Motion carries. Do you want to explain the M&O and the INS?
Yes, so in the minutes it has to read that the city proposed the 0.424750 property tax rate. The M&O will be 0.396938. The INS will be 0.027812.
You got that?
Got it.
It'll be noted that we voted against it. It will be. It'll be in the minutes. Item number 13, first reading of 2023-2024 annual budget.
Okay. So we sent out an executive summary.
This is what you already went over, right, prior.
This is in the budget workshop. Yes.
Open meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
It wasn't, the budget workshop was an open meeting, but we have to do 2 readings of the budget in council meetings. So the budget workshop was just, it was an open meeting for the public could attend, but since we have 2 council meetings, we're gonna do this for the budget. And then we will have a public hearing on the 28th for the tax rate and the budget.
Sorry.
That's okay. No, it's okay. So, in your executive summary, again, I'm just gonna go over highlights, that with the proposed tax value 0.424750. And then we have the proposed budget for property tax. We also have what, our finance director is looking at for where sales tax will be. So in this analysis, in this sales tax number, we have included EDC sales tax and we have included the sales tax that offsets property tax. So there's a percentage of sales tax that we use to offset property tax. So that's included in this bigger sales tax number of 3.4 million. So staff is presenting a balanced budget for 23-24 that will address critical infrastructure needs, staff development, quality of life improvements, and deferred maintenance solutions, which will translate into service level enhancements. Then we go on to say that the operating fund of the city will be $9.1 million, which is slightly higher than fiscal year 22-23. Sales tax, which is the largest revenue, budgeted again at 3.4 million. Capital expenditures, which again, we highlighted at the budget workshop. Total capital expenditures for 23-24 will be 7.7 million, makes up a significant portion of the budget. It includes the water tank storage rehabilitation project, which is $434,000. And that is funded by the water fund. Okay, so it's in our bigger vision for capital, but has its own funding source for water fund. Then we also go over the emergency response center. That has funding from COVID, our certificate of obligation, and then we will use general funds for the rest. Then we're also doing street paving and traffic improvements to Texas and First Street. Right now, that is budgeted at $260,000. We are still in the running for 2 community development block grants. This includes sidewalk improvements downtown, which will make them ADA accessible. And it will also include water and sewer line enhancements. So we're still in the running for those 2 grants. And with that being said, we have to put money aside in case we get those grants. Then, as we discussed in the budget workshop, there is a very big emphasis on training and career development with our staff in order to be able to recruit and retain our workforce. Just to note, we have hired 2 police officers within the last week and a half. We have one that I believe has signed a letter of intent to start in early September. So we will just have 1 opening on our force. So very close to being fully staffed at this time. With that being said, we have training levels in their department where they can obtain certifications on advanced level, intermediate level, and a master's level. We are also working in our other departments, in our code department, public works department, to obtain certified building inspector licenses, plumbing inspector licenses, wastewater class B licenses, municipal solid waste licenses. The other thing we have budgeted for is 12 lifeguards for 23-24. If I'm not mistaken, we had 8 or 9. I believe we lost one early on in the season. But we were able to operate the pool with 8 lifeguards. If we can get 12 lifeguards, we can be open more days. So that will be helpful in staffing. And again, there's charts for revenue trends, expenditures by department. And then if you have my slide deck.
Miss B should say Stacy. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. I don't know if you want me to do the little. Okay, so some feedback we got from the budget workshop was I did a poor job of highlighting all of our successes for 23, 24, 22, 23. So I made sure to add them all in there. So we're working on our 33-acre mixed use project. These are all current year projects that are either in the works or completed. We were able to complete the lease agreement with Apollo MedFlight. We're in process with our fleet vehicle program for our white fleet. We're also in the process for fleet vehicle program for our patrol vehicles. Just talked to our chief of police today. We are very hopeful that they will be in the shop being detailed, at least 4 of them early September. So we're trying to get at least a bunch of them early October. We also executed our grazing lease. We did our redistricting map project. Police department got new uniforms. The police department also implemented initiatives of Thanksgiving food drive, Blue Santa, Coffee with the Chief, and 4th of July celebration. We were successful in getting the Quanah Parker Trail marker, the new franchise agreement with West Texas Gas. To note that our franchise tax went up from 3% to 5% in that agreement. We are also involved in the home grant process, which EDC is spearheading, looking to rehab at least 4 homes. But again, we're still early in the grant process. So we just have funding set aside should we be able to move forward. Community development block grants, water and sewer lines, ADA, we talked about downtown sidewalks. Then we were successful with our splash pad and new playground equipment. You will see upgrades to the splash pad. For the grant, we have to implement fencing and sidewalk improvements, hoping to have those completed end of September, early October. And then we'll finish out the grant for that. 7th Street Park, new playground equipment. The pool playground equipment has been received. We are waiting for the contractor to come out and install. Hopefully in the next few weeks, that should be up. We have 1 tech ball table that has been put together. So goal is in the next couple of weeks, the rest will be put together and installed. And if you watch some videos on that, it's pretty wild. How you play with those tables, because you basically play soccer with your whole body. So we should see some pretty fun things happening at the parks. PD recruitment and retention incentives. We worked really hard on those this year. And again, the fruits of our labors were just about fully staffed. Downtown initiatives, summer jam, Cinco de Mayo, summer celebration. We've created a downtown association, EDC initiatives, business grants, comprehensive plan, and the industrial park. And I hope I caught them all. Moving into 23, 24 with major initiative for quality of life, big focus on health and safety for the city. Again, with our emergency response center, our water tank rehab, the one on Texas Street, new fire truck. which fire department is very proud of receiving a Texas A&M Fire Service grant. If we all keep our fingers and toes crossed, there is a chance we could get it by October 1. So again, big initiative for that department. That was about $200,000 grant. Dumpsters. Again, we try to do that every year, but it is an emphasis and a big portion of our budget that we put into that. Again, we went over ADA improvements in our community development block grants, downtown events. If you were at Summer Jam, we're trying to do numerous events downtown to draw people to shopping, draw people to different things they can do downtown. Quality of life improvements in Dalhart wouldn't be complete without a new pool slide. So we are looking for that. Very similar again to in this picture. So dual slides, and staff should have some quotes on that coming late fall. One event that was a big hit this summer, we only got to do it once, but looking to do it multiple times next summer, was our movie night at the pool. So that was pretty fun and different, and had quite a good crowd. I think there was just shy of 100 people that day. So again, going over department highlights, and forgive me, I did not update these numbers because we hired people too fast for the department. But we have one going into the academy in September. So that's a big initiative. We are continuing our homegrown initiative. So he's from the area. He'll be going into Amarillo Police Academy. We hired 2 that have just graduated from the academy, both female officers. And then again, we have a 3rd in the works. So we will have 1 opening. And once we get our new patrol vehicles, they will have a new CAD system. This coming fiscal year, we are looking at issuing department issued rifles. We will have shields and helmets. We will have holsters, optics and lights for the pistols that we issue. Our staff. Another thing to note for our economic development staff, they again are working on our 33 acres, which is the residential neighborhood development. You may remember that they just went out for architect and engineer services. So that is early in its stages of development. Our industrial park projects. Right now, staff is working on a plan for roads because they have someone who's interested in purchasing 2 lots. So there's some development talks there. Business grant opportunities, property improvements, and they're also looking at the through traffic development. Community development in downtown. So part of our larger scale community development is the Rita Blanca Lake. I want to continue doing the 4th of July celebration. So that was a good partnership with Rotary. It was a good partnership between the police department, the fire department, and they're looking forward to continuing that next year. They'll order more hot dogs and hamburgers. So they ran out this year. Let's see, downtown Cinco de Mayo, again, they want to do summer jam, again, swimming pool activities. In addition to movie nights, they would like to pursue a mom appreciation day and a dad appreciation day. I will say the dads made out this year. They offered dads in for free this year. So, and that apparently was a big draw to the pool on the day they did that. So we're going to do moms and dads on separate days. And then the volleyball tournament, they did have some good turnout for that as well. So they're looking to do that one again. Revitalization grants, we have current sign grants. Staff is going to be implementing paint and canopy grants. Again, our downtown association, our design committee, all of this in working towards the Texas Historic Commission Main Street City designation. Applications have not opened yet. So once they do, we'll be pursuing that process. We are also currently pursuing music-friendly city designation. As you know, we received our Texas Film Friendly City designation, so we're pursuing being a music-friendly city as well. Some of the things we highlighted to be attractive in RPD was the TCOL certification from basic to masters. Those numbers besides tells you where the goals are for staff for 23-24. So, and they're gonna tweak those numbers as we get more staff. So for EDC, our goals for staff there's sales tax workshops, future leaders training seminars, and staff is pursuing the professional community and economic developer certification. Again, as we go further into Texas Main Street, going to downtown and pursuing those certifications. Our water department, just reiterating, staff is pursuing wastewater Class B license, pesticide license, plumbing inspector license. We also have some pursuing Class C water licenses and Class D wastewater licenses. Administration, just as a bigger whole, staff would like to pursue Microsoft Office classes, certified government finance officer certification. I have some staff now who have been inspired to pursue their associate degrees, and other staff who have been inspired to pursue their bachelor's degrees. So the city has a current tuition reimbursement. So we may see some staff taking advantage of that benefit. Census training and code training, Texas City Manager Association trainings, municipal solid waste license, and again, emergency management courses. Apologize, I don't know what happened to the font on this, but I think I need to take a course in PowerPoint, so we'll fix that later on. But with our code department, ultimate goal is to receive Texas Certified Building Inspector. With that being said, staff is pursuing plumbing inspector license. And we're also very fortunate to have someone we contract with twice a week, so staff can get hours towards their certification. So we're over 120 hours now.
To update on that, one of them did get their code enforcement license today. They came in the mail today.
Oh, very nice. Thank you. A good update. Then again, street sanitation, parks, fleet department, anything from waste screening classes, maintainer training, herbicide, pesticide licenses, CDL classes, and tax audit inspection classes. And then we also need to make sure we get a pool operator's license. We have one now, and we're pursuing another one. And I'm done. Ken is going to come up and go over the numbers. Wasn't allowed to talk about that part. So
Thank you.
You want to repeat that one? Okay.
Do I have this? Yes.
So that'll be a different agenda item than the Ken.
No, same thing. Sorry.
I would try to make this as painless as possible. I know that you guys are all excited about all these numbers, but so am I. But let me go talk a little bit because we at the workshop, talk about this forecast assumption. One is no change in staffing levels from year to year. That's one. Two is the average increase in salary or pay this year is 3.5. That means not everybody's going to get 3.5 across the board. It's going to be based upon merit, which I think is an excellent way of doing it. Another point is we had an 18% increase in our medical coverage process this year, 18%. We at the 18%, and we had to increase the deductible to $5,000 for individuals. So that's we also added in for families the eye and dental, if I'm correct on that. The next thing before I start going into numbers is that we added a capital fund this year. One of the things that I thought was a little confusing when you looked at the numbers was capital was in H1, so you never knew what that meant. Capital should never be an expense until it's completed, and then you do the depreciation over the number of years of the life. I just think it's a little bit misleading. So we've done that. And you'll see the numbers on the general fund. You'll see a net proceeds, the revenue is greater than the expenditures of $660,000. With the movement of the capital from the individual funds into this capital fund, that some of that money has to go cover the expenses for that's why you see in the general fund a $660,000 net fall through. Part of that is for the capital that is not covered by COs, bonds, or other obligations. Anything that is, for example, the emergency service center, that is covered by a bond and a CO that you guys that passed last year. So the 660 is something that is outside that area. Does that make sense? Okay. I also, on the projected, I added the July actuals from the last time we were here to come across. And the one comment, talk about the general fund, basically, we continue to have, and I'll have another presentation in another 10 minutes from now, talking about the actuals for July. But we had another strong month in revenue. Expenses continues to be held in line to what was projected. So the fall through, I think, and this excludes the purchase of the buildings by EDC. I took that $956,000 revenue that was in the revenue. I took that out of both of these numbers here because one, on the sale of the building, what it will be is we will calculate a gain or loss, taking the net fixed assets from it to calculate a gain or loss in the general ledger and the general fund. And in the economic development fund, that amount of money, at $955,000, will then be depreciated over the useful life of the building. Normally, it's 40 years for a new building. We'll probably do something less than that because some of those buildings have been here around for a number of years. So we're going to have to go calculate that, and that depreciation will come when they put into when the EDC owns that building. So then we'll start depreciation next year. Okay. Water. I'm getting dead wrong on my projection of water. You'll see that the water department had a good month in July, had a great fall through. And we had in our projection about $195,000 worth of capital left for the rest of the year. The original budget was $240. We had 190 in the projection I have right this moment. After talking and getting updates from Stacy and that, it looks like it's going to be like $90,000 will be capital budget. So I have 195 in there. I'm only going to use 90. So that's going to drop through $100,000. If you take that $100,000 out of the expense, he'll probably be a little bit to the plus now that I see. So water department, and the only reason water department is favorable because they have not done a lot of capital. Next year, we have 762,000, something like that in capital. No, I'm sorry, $720,000. So all of a sudden, when we talk about the water, and we talk about being $4 million in revenue for next year, the reason why you need $4 million, a lot of it's because of capital that you have to go cover. Okay. The EDC basically is where we thought it was going to be across the board. As Stacy talked about sales tax, let me go clarify that. Last time we showed that the property tax was higher than sales tax, and the reason I did that was based upon use. This time that you saw was based upon source, where it's coming from, the sales tax. And in general, sales tax is split into three areas. 25% goes to EDC, 50% goes into the sales tax where you can use for anything. The other 25% is used to keep your property tax rates down. So that's where the sales tax split is. Okay. The other thing on that first page is fleet. And the expenditures are low. As Stacy mentioned, we have not got as many cars under that new agreement this year. We have just, and they did a great job of, let's don't rush into it this year. Let's go see how this works. And therefore to go ramp it up on the second year. So I think the management team did a great job there. On the second page, talking about just revenue and expenses, we on the motel and hotel tax, we received the second quarter occupancy. We got about $219,000. And it is higher than we were projected. And you'll see that when I talk about the June actuals. And we have probably another payout, because we usually get the hot tax and then we pay it out to the organizations that we've committed a budget to. We do it over a period of time. We don't pay them all at once. We pay them in 3 different segments. And the last one will probably be about a little less than $110,000. That you'll see that expenditures at 566 will be another $100,000 when we see at the end of the year. Okay. The other ones are bonds and COs, and all they do is you accrue for it. Then we paid the bonds in February and in August, and we have paid our August payments already. So they are, you'll see that in the August warrant. Okay, let's go to the next one. Let's see, is it the top one or no? Left, right?
I'm doing it.
Okay. Well, if you could bring it up a little bit, you can see the chart. That's the numbers. Some people like the charts better. As I can say, property tax, we're probably at 98%, 99% when it's all said and done for this year. We are going up a little bit higher, and most of that is due to 75% of the property increase is due to starting payments on the bonds for the emergency service building. That's what 75% of that increase represents. The other 25% is medical and raises, basically. So that's the 3 pieces. If someone asks you why we're going up, that's the 3 pieces that I would say with the bond being the highest part. And the other thing for 23, 24 on sales tax, we're down. We're going to go down. And the reason why we're going down in budgets, I think you're going to exceed that. But anytime you do a budget for the current year, you want to be very conservative in your revenues. You don't want to be over aggressive in revenues, and because your cost creeps up at the same time. You want to be conservative with that, keep your costs under control. If the revenue exceeds, then you can consider whether or not you want to increase your costs in the area. So I'm a conservative person in general, and I like that approach. It's hard to take costs out of a year than to add costs. $9.1 million worth of revenue for the year for 23, 24. Let's go to the next page on the expenditure side. I try to go take out the one-time cost sometimes out of there so that you compare apples to apples with cost year over year. For example, in 22, 23, we have capital outlay of $1.1 million, which is moved to a different fund. So I want to take that out when comparing to this year's budget. The other one is TxDOT that we've had revenue we're projecting at $957,000. That says that the net expenses for the normal expenditures in the general fund will be, we said it was projected at 8.5 million. And we think it's going to be about 8.5 million next year. I mean, in the budget year. So I always like to compare apples to apples. I'm not trying to understand where you get 1 year you high, next year you have low, and so on and so forth. We have in TxDOT, we have We still have not received the $200,000 that we asked for, and we still have an invoice for 73,000, and they're still working it. So in this projection, I'm also including another 75,000. So about $150,000 we'll pay in Tech dot. Then we'll get reimbursed later, probably in next year. Expenditures for the general fund. I did that. Never mind. Revenue for the water department. I've updated the projection, and we're at almost $3.2 million worth of revenue in 22-23. And again, we're projecting $4 million in it. As I said before, that's a risky. We are having a rate study have been started, and it will probably be completed by the end of December. Again, talked about there's $720,000 worth of capital projects, in the water department. Next one. Last time we were at the workshop, you asked us for why did that 1 year go so high? The previous year, 21-22, went so high in revenue. Mike was able to give me the numbers of the millions of gallons that they have produced by month for 20, 21, 22, and first 5 months of 23. What I've done in this chart is show where it has been for each of the months. The bottom numbers says 21, 22, 20, 21, 21, 22, 22, 23 for 8 months. Because I wanted to say, because I did that calendar year, but I wanted to do fiscal year on the bottom, just to show you. In 21, 22, which was the big year, we did over 672 billion gallons or million gallons? Million gallons, I'm sorry, 672 million gallons versus 2021 was 559. And for the first 8 months of this year, we did a little bit less than 400 million. Just, again, you asked me for some information on that, and I'm just providing that for you. Any questions on that? That's something new from last. Looking at like I said, expenditures, they have done a good job of controlling their expenditures. Even with the revenue down this year, they have done a good job on that. Next year, basically, it's going from total expenditures of $3,276,000 to $3,338,000. $3,338,000, yes. Okay. Next one is EDC. We've talked about that. There's not been much change to this at all. I'm gonna let Joe have all the fireworks when he presents next behind me, so I'm gonna keep that to a minimum. What?
You stay talking.
No, it hasn't changed much from the workshop, to be honest. Then the next one talks a little bit of revenue and expenditures. Again, I'm trying to peel the onion back a little bit so we know what operating expenditures are, what's the revenue has been. As you saw that its revenue is going up in 23-24 by about $250,000. And that is mostly on the sale of property that we had none this year. We had some in previous years, but we have $250,000 in the budget for that. On the reason why the operating expenditure is going from 690 to 581, there's more projects that he'll talk about in his presentation of that has not been started this year, but it'll be started next year. And then you take out the purchase of property and the capital, and that's what it's going to happen is you're going to have a negative impact to your line and due to the purchase of property. That's not true. Let me go take that back. The purchase of property will be capitalized and a portion of it will be depreciated over the next year. And the capital for 23-24 will do the same. And the last one was a slide that showed just the capital as Stacy mentioned. I tried to bring it into by what fund it is, just summarizing it totally and across the board. Questions? I know I went through that extremely fast, but hopefully most of you saw that or have at least at the workshop, went in a little bit more detail. Questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken. Item number 14. Discuss and or act upon economic development proposed budget for fiscal year 2022-2023.
I need to get up and stretch a little bit. No, you're ready, just power through. So basically, most of this we've gone over and you've seen it, but we thought we'd pull it up and show you. We presented our budget. So we presented our budget to my board, and this is what it looks like, and y'all have seen this before. Shows our revenue, our expenses, and operational expenses, and miscellaneous expenses. So it is a larger budget than what we're used to. You know, we're moving forward, trying to get some projects done. So that's what it looks at, and that is our how it totals out and works out. If we break down to this, is what Ken says, we broke it up into our revenue. As you can see, our sales tax is our largest revenue at 920,000. We broke in some other things. We have our lease, we have our interest earned, and then we're looking to sell property and some of the stuff, which is we're hoping to meet our $250,000. If we look at expenses, if you look at all of our expenses, personnel totals is small operational, and then miscellaneous totals is a huge dollar amount, giving us our total. Our miscellaneous, it breaks out, looks like so. A little over $1 million breaks out into our major projects. And we're looking at 5 of our major projects this year, which is a little over $1 million. And that's where the biggest part of our miscellaneous expense is coming from. Our 5 major projects, as you sit there and look at that, you can say we're looking at trying to get our business expansion and new business grant going, which is a large portion. Property improvements, which would be property improvements that we already have. Property could be our buildings, could be maybe something industrial park, or it could be our 33 acres. That was kind of just sitting there just as we start working towards these things. Industrial park projects, we are looking at putting in a road and entryway. We have a person that has made an offer on some lots, but that's one of their requirements is we build an entryway in part of the roads. We're also looking at hiring and doing a strategic plan and having someone help us put together a plan for our industrial park. So we know what we need to do and build a plan so we can strategically, but also in phases, add and do our improvements. So we have more of a direction, we're just not like just everywhere. We have some planning and engineering to kind of fall into either the industrial park or our residential neighborhood. As we fall through, we know there's going to be some planning. We know they're going to have some engineering costs. We just don't know where it's fit or what category. So we built our own on that. We're in the process. We're pretty far along in our housing grant. Everything seems to be going like it should. So we hopefully will get our housing grant, which will allow us, and we're putting in our budget to basically renovate and do 4 houses next year. We hopefully that's falling through. We're hopefully that by the time next fiscal year starts, we will have already had information on our grants, so we can start marketing that. Then we have our residential neighborhood, which are 33 acres. As we said earlier, we're just started. We just got approval. We're meeting them on Thursday, the first time to meet with architect to start the development and planning of creating a plat and creating a design for that 33 acres. And so that's our another big project that we're looking at so that we can develop that. And so we can slowly start addressing our housing issues here in town. We are not wanting to be the developers. We're wanting to develop a plat. And then with that plat, we can go out and find developers, but we want a little bit of control. We don't want to just give them the land and then they sit on it for 5 years. We want to develop a plan, develop a project plan, then we will go out to developers so that they can start working on the housing projects with a little bit more of our control. So it's not something that just gets pushed off or takes forever. And that is where we're at. Any questions? No, we did this good. We've got y'all tired enough. You're just like, you're ready just to get out of here.
Thank you, Joe.
So you,
Okay, anything else?
vote on this, it will go to public hearing and we'll approve everything all at once.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Well, probably told you most of the things that happened in July during my budgets. I'm going to keep it sort of,
Let me open the agenda item.
okay, sorry.
15 July financial report by interim finance director Ken Nichol.
Thank you. Talking about the general fund, revenue was $551,000 approximately. Expenditures were $754,000 for about a $200,000 loss, $203,000 loss. Not abnormal, guys. Everybody does that because most of your revenue and property comes at the first 6 months of the year. And then therefore, expenditures don't go away. It's just a timing of it across the board. For the year to date is $8.9 million. Expenditures was a little over 8 million for a net fall through of about $859,000. And again, that does not exclude sale of the property of the buildings. Revenue has been extremely strong. The sales tax, your franchise tax, hot tax, you name it all. It has, the only thing it hasn't gone over 100% is your swimming pool, but that's not surprising since you have such a short season. So that was the net proceeds of the general fund. Water fund is, as I mentioned earlier, big jump this month from last month. I think it's over 30% jump from what we had revenue last month to this month. We talked about all the factors why that was the case. With the lot of rain we've had and the dryness the last month or so, or 6 weeks ago, says that water was $313,000, expenditures was $176,000, which turns out to be $137,000 fall through. As you can see, for the year to date for water, it was 2.5 million. And the expenditure was a little higher, almost 2.6. So you had about a $53,000 negative fall through this year. I expect that to be on the positive side by the time we get everything done. We have some expenditures what we talked about. It's probably going to be about $80,000 over the next 2 months, but we should use something a little positive. EDC, we talked about it, it's 93,000 revenue, expenditures were 26, $67,000 fall through. Again, this month was motel tax, which was $219,000 we mentioned earlier. That's 149% higher than what we had in the budget. Again, conservative budget on revenue, you expect them to be over 100%. The refinancing was the last two accruals. We paid both those balances in August, so you'll see that as zero next time. The other one is the Rita Blanca Lake Fund. Revenue was extremely low. Expenditures with people costs associated was $24,000. So we lost money of $21,000 for the month of July. Year to date was $272,000. The expenditures is $217,000. We're still on the positive side of about $54,000. It is. I don't have a comment on that because I don't know enough about it to make a comment. Highlights for the month. Like I said, sales tax was $312,000, so it's still going strong. We're at 107% on the general fund, 2 months left. So everything's, I think, is an upside on there. Expenditures, we talked about it. I think August is going to be another $200,000 loss. And then when we get the payment from TxDOT, whatever that month is, it will probably drop to about less than $50,000 loss. But again, for the year, we'll be close to $600,000 to the plus on the general fund. See what else. We had some software updates in IT. Was $23,000 in July. Police department got some software also that were his system to get, I think, to a software that really is going to help them be very a lot more productive at $40,000. So it's I think it was, because I've used that software before in the city from a previous life when I was city manager. And it really helps quite a bit of having things able to go be filed, to bring up, to continuously with your cameras, have that whole situation. So it really works well. In the Parks Department, there have been some trimming of trees around the town. Hopefully you've seen that. In June, we trimmed the trees around the swimming pool. In July, we did around the town. So for those both months, it cost us almost $31,000. I know we have another $8,000 in August. I've seen the expense come through. Highlight for water, we've already talked about it. Again, 31% higher than the June revenue. See what else. I've already talked about the year-to-date capital. We had 250. It's just going to be what it's going to be. I think it's going, like I said, I think it's going to be positive just because of the lack of purchase of the capital we had in the plan. Again, I can't say enough about Mike, how hard he's working on that. I know when the revenue's not there, that you really have to tighten your belts, and he's done a very good job on that. Summary for the general fund, we've talked about all that. The only other comment is interest earnings. We had almost $40,000 of interest last month. Year to date, $282,000 of interest. So we're getting the most out of it. We had a budget of 40, so we missed that big time. Just because one of the things is with the interest rates, they were increasing by the feds, a 1/4% here, 1/4% there. It automatically helped with the investment folks to raise their rates for us on our investments. So it's a correlation. It's nice to have money to have that raise, but if you're borrowing it's not so good. So it's just that was a positive for us. On EMS, the other thing was we talked about last month, we were looking for their bill. It came in this month. And we also had some air conditioning problems that cost us another $8,000. So it was $36,000 for EMS, I believe, and $8,000 with air conditioner. And the last one was, I already talked about the hotel motel tax. That's it. Questions?
Thank you, Ken.
Okay.
We're going to take a short break and then we'll come back in and go to executive session. Anybody else needs to go to rest?
Isn't that Frankie?
Well, thank God, you're like power through.
That was my problem. Yeah, we frown upon that.
Paying better.
Do we need a refill?
Well, you should have refilled it 2 meetings ago.
Hey now, there was still plenty of candy in there today.
Yeah, it's the stuff that nobody eats. Hey, whatever, mine's still in there. Maybe.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Let me see it and I'll go refill it right now. I'll get you some Butterfingers and.
Since we're doing what I'm gonna go. Not even. Better because I don't. I'll be floating for it over.
You need to get you a paddle?
I'll float that time anyway in the morning.
Or sit all this time. Or sit all that time.
I like your letters. I don't know if I can say that right now, but I like your letters that you include. The attorneys.
Are you Kansas City?
Put it right there for Parker.
Bet it won't be
Dinner
full
is
of.
served.
Get in there before anybody else.
You already got special treatment. You shouldn't be able to go through the trough first. Well, nobody else.
It's like, man, that bowl looks full.
Yeah, I put it for Parker. So we
Oh,
can
that's cheated.
back in.
There you go.
That's
Inner
the
diet.
diet. Is what that is.
That's
I'll
all.
take 3.
I love it. Thank you.
You get snickers in here.
After everything I smelled today.
Yes. Two. No,
Y'all couldn't crank that.
you can say it this way. Yeah. Go that way.
I'm trying to think. You guys east of Santa Fe and north.
No, it's gonna be
I just waited until we break it like, we're done, so.
Ready? Item number 16, city council will now convene into executive session under Texas Local Government Code 551.074 for the deliberation of emergency management responsibilities. The time is 7:33 PM. City Council is reconvening from executive session at 8:14 PM. No action was taken. Item number 17, discussion of future agenda item for City Council.
I would like to add something to that, and it can be up for debate on the future council item, but I would like to see roll call and vote call. Yay or nay on future items on the agenda.
Anything else? Item number 18, comments from city manager and department heads.
Jerry, you have something?
I do.
Brevity is key.
Say what?
Brevity is key.
I'll go through it as quick as I can. Seems like, I don't have anything to say, then it all piles up. So report our comp plan. We started, we had a great turnout. We had about 40 people Tuesday night. Several of you went. I think it was a good event. So we had a lot of feedback, said it was good. Steering committee went Wednesday morning with them. Again, it went well. City staff department heads met with them Tuesday. I think we got a lot of feedback today from them. So we're in progress. As of this morning, we had 297 people do the survey, which is about 3.5% of our population. Our goal is 5%. And our survey is open until September 15th. So I think we're on a good start. They were actually kind of impressed that we had as many as we had even that first weekend. If you haven't heard, we have a new clothing retail store coming to town, Fashion Connection. It's coming to town. EDC and Retail Coach has worked hard to get them here. They're going to go into a building in Apache Square, and they're looking at opening sometime in October. So that'll be good. Our business breakfast is tomorrow. You're all welcome to come. SBDC and WT Enterprise is going to be speaking about Canva and digital workshops or digital marketing. Workforce Coalition on Wednesday. We're going to have Gary Graham, who's the senior executive with Upshaw Insurance Agency. He's going to speak about benefits other than medical and how to increase benefits without costing small businesses a fortune. Thursday with Park Hill for architect design. And then just a reminder for those on the airport committee meeting, we have airport committee meeting is tomorrow at 6. That's all I got.
What time's the breakfast in the morning?
Starts at 8. We'll go from 8 to 9. It's pretty good. Tomorrow, we actually might have our largest group. We've got 25 RSVP'd so far. And that's the largest we've had. So
It was a real good program last time.
right. And we did this when we're going to do a 4-month series with the SBDC, and they're kind of like last month was on planning and like budgeting and then business plans. We had probably 15 people other than our normals, and 5 of those groups after we met contacted her and they went down and met with her to help do a business plan. So this time they're coming back and they're doing a thing on Canva and digital workshops. And so that word has gotten out. We have more people trying to come. So we've got 2 more, this one, then 2 more days, 2 more times with their workshop. And then we'll try to see where that leads into our next workshop with somebody else. Okay.
Mario, you got anything?
Just real quick. Been real busy this month on fires. We're already sitting at 11 for this month. On average, looking at 5 or 6. We had 10 last month, 6 in June. We're 7 in May and 19 in April. Today we took, finally, it's been a year and a half. We took delivery of the 9 sets of gear that we been in for last year. So they got here today. We're unboxing them right before we got here. And we just added on 3 probationary members last month. And I think we still have 4 roster spots to fill. But that's all I got.
Thank you.
I do have one thing, sorry. So as we were probably a week away from signing contract on ERC, hopefully when Melissa gets back, we can do that. They have asked that if we want to go out there and tour, I think she has some hard, fast dates. We want to go tour as they do progress. But if y'all want to go out there and see something or have questions, please holler at me or Stacy. The general contractor wants one of us out there as they go through things. That way they know someone's out there so someone doesn't fall in a hole and get hurt or something like that. Try to keep distractions from a minimum.
Thank you. Anything else?
Summer hours, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm sorry. Summer hours, just so you know, they ended last Friday, for utility staff, some other staff at City Hall. So we'll be open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Okay. Do you have something?
You good?
I'm good.
Oh, I was just gonna make a motion, we adjourn.
Second, third.
Right.
Any opposed? Thank you all.
I didn't mean to hold that up.
Oh, yeah. I was like, oh, somebody.